My name is Barry Simpson. I was born in England like in 1957. My parents came here in 1954. And my interest in art was kind of kindled by my mother because both my parents were artistic people. So my mom used to hold my hand and show me how to draw profiles and things like that. And I got interested in art from that age. And then where we lived, the community was a lot of African and Caribbean people who were just coming over to England at the time. So my house was like a house where everybody came because my dad was a barber. So everybody came. I used to go to my bed and there'll be people in my house. Wake up, there was people in my house. So I got a lot of stories from all over Africa and the Caribbean. People even who came from Jamaica and places like that, they met each other for the first time because like somebody came from Kingston, they didn't go to St. Elizabeth or Clarendon and things. So they met there and we had some very interesting conversations that fueled a lot of my artwork, you know. So that's where it all began. And then like when I was 14, I visited a youth club and I liked her. There was a particular girl I liked her, but I run into the art room, and then the art teacher there saw me drawing some pictures and said to me, "Oh, you drew them pictures and things." So they offered me a job to teach the younger children, and at 14, so I started doing it from there. I started rekindling my artwork from there, and it just developed. And what really fueled it even more was that there were not a lot of positive images of black people at that time, you know. So it gave me the opportunity to try and use my art to fill that gap where we could have positive images, you know, of cultural things that I was learning about that was relevant to our community. So that's what kind of fueled the artwork from there. The interest came further where I was commissioned to do a series of greeting cards, and I was so surprised, you know, that everybody was like so interested in the artwork, and it spurred me on to produce a lot of cultural work because I was influenced by an artist from Jamaica called Ras Daniel Hartman. He used to draw a lot of pictures, and then he introduced me to this book called Vanishing Africa. So I used a lot of those images and produced my work, and there's another artist called Ernie Barnes. He's an American artist. He's do caricatures, and that's where I got my interest to do caricatures. So the work started to flow where I did like the dancing and the reggae, and cricket was very popular. You had dominoes. The Caribbean community, they love their dominoes. So I produced a series of works based around those topics, and they sold very well. So that's how I kind of got encouraged to do that. And then I met an artist called Pablo. He's from Nottingham, and then we were working on the street because we were saying you can't do artwork and put it underneath, you know, or your bed. Yeah. So we was out on the street doing all this artwork, and somebody passed, and there was a church that they were going to knock down this church. So somebody approached us and said, you know, there's a church there. If you want to clear it out, you can use it as a gallery. And from there, we had hundreds of artists coming and doing textile, doing theatre, and using different mediums, yeah. So from there, we kind of organized ourselves into the Brixton Art Collective, and then we started to do many exhibitions around Brixton and different areas, and that's how I met other artists started to come to my house, and like Akiwali, who's part of this exhibition. I was at home one day and I heard knock on my door, and there was Akiwali coming through the door, and he came with this Jamaican landscape vibes, and I was like a portrait artists. So we combine our skills and we've started to do things like backdrops and things like that. And then further on from that, it was like I started to do workshops with little children in other schools, and because I became involved as a youth worker now, so I was doing a lot of work in the community, and from there people encouraged me to start teaching art. So I started to teach art in schools and get involved in encouraging the younger people to get involved in doing artwork as well. So which I've been doing that up to now. You know, I've worked in many different schools trying to encourage the young people. What one of the most interesting things that happened through the Brixton Art Collective was that because my father, he was a musician, so he taught us all the Caribbean songs from Jamaica. We didn't have a drum, so I used to knock the washing machine. That was my first job. Yeah, so I used to knock this washing machine, and when we was at the church, a theatre group called Zaria, they came along to use space because we had all kind of lots of space. So there was a big stage there, and he heard me drumming. So I joined that group, me and my friend Pablo, and we used to tour schools, and we used to bring things like McDonald's and Kentucky, and we used to show it to the children, and they say, "What's that?" And they say, "Oh, McDonald's." And, "What's that?" "Kentucky." And then you bring out a yam or a sweet potato, and they didn't know what it was. So you're right. So we used to go into the classroom and draw the yams and the sweet potato and talk about the history of all these type of foods that Caribbean people eat. And we did it for many years until sadly the leader he passed away, but we carried on that legacy, you know. So that's how it kind of developed for me, you know. And like I said, Aki he's a he was very influential in terms of he's a traveling man. So he came back, he's come with a lot of vibes and so and tell me about this place and that place that he went to and all of these type of things. So, you know, it kept like the petrol moving, you know. Yeah, they kept the fire blazing. Yeah. So that's what, and then for me, I started to after I started to produce my own work as greeting cards, prints, and I've done, and then I was commissioned to do quite a bit of work with Aki in terms of when we had reggae concerts, we did backdrops and things like that, you know. Yeah, so it's been beautiful, and it's been a lovely being here, and I've met artists that I've never seen, like Morag. You know, so it's that continuation of inspiring to go on and produce more work. So right now I'm not going to be teaching anymore. I'm going to be just doing the artwork. Yeah, so
that is the teaching.
That's it. Yes, because it's been wonderful teaching in schools because I love working with the young people. I love inspiring because when I was younger, people who were older than me used to take me around. Yeah, the elders used to take me because I was very, you know, to go to a national gallery and see and the portrait gallery and places like that. You know, as a little child, you think these buildings are so imposing, you think you can't go in there. But she brought me there, and it was a great experience to see actual original work instead of, because people, when you see work as a photograph, it's nice, but when you actually go to the galleries, like how this experience here now, where people can come and actually experience the original work, it's so rewarding. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I had a list of questions inside my mind, but then you were just propelling through and answering them bit by bit. But it's incredible, and everything that you're speaking of is vital in why we need to be sharing these spaces with one another, especially with our young people being able to be exposed to these, so then they can be intrigued, and that fire within them that's already present can be ignited to then being able to express themselves through these forms.
Exactly,
right?
and have that confidence. Yeah, that and to know that what they have to say is also valuable instead of being told, because there's a lot of things that we've been told that we really need to be retold. Yeah, so all of these type of experiences will give confidence to the young people to know that, oh, I've got that, I can do that, you know. So that's where it's at, because sometimes you go, you have a talent, but you think the environment that you're in doesn't cater for that, but you have to be creating your own expression. I know that there's value, yeah, and to pass that on to your children, because my parents passed it on to me because I was first generation born here. So it's like yeah, to get the young people to be involved in creating exhibitions like this, and hopefully we can have a permanent space or a gallery where we can go and appreciate these works.